everyone. Welcome in. Today is June 24th, 2026, and we are going to kick off our amazing webinar today for you guys that are joining us. Thank you so much for coming in. Today, we are going to talk a little bit about protecting your digital identity. And it's going to cover some topics about cybersecurity and even fraud prevention. So I hope you all are excited as we are to get this webinar started for you all and get some good information for you guys. We have a lot to cover today. So we're going to get started. I'm going to pass the ball over to Andrea. She's going to announce our amazing panelists today. And again, we're excited to have you all in. So come on in, let's get started and get ready to get the show on the road. All right, Andrea, so on to you.
Thank you so much, Jarnika. So you already heard her voice. She did the Eddie, as we like to call it. Jarnika, she's a part of our business development team. And alongside Jarnika is our presenter for today, Milton, who's also a part of our business development team. And along with me in marketing is Carrie Lazar, and she created this wonderful presentation for you guys today. And I'm Andrea, also in marketing. And today, during our questions, we'll be answering each and every single one of your questions about identity theft and all that fun stuff. Will be our cybersecurity engineer, Mohammed, who'll join us for questions later. And here's to you, Milton.
All right, Andrea, thank you so much. And again, good evening, everyone. We want to thank you all for making time and being with us on another weekly Wednesday webinar. As Andrea stated, we are excited to have you on board. And we know it's just a couple of housekeeping that we want to remind everyone. So we love participation. So if at any point you have any questions, feel free to use the chat feature or the Q&A. And Andrea Londono and Janika will be reading those questions. And again, like Andrea stated, it is our commitment that we will answer all your questions before we let you go tonight. So again, we're going to have a special guest for you all later on towards the end of the presentation. He's going to be here to answer your questions. And again, if we don't have an answer for you, we will try to get it to you by tomorrow. So with that being said, I'm gonna take myself off camera so you can focus on the presentation for this evening. And we're going to talk about protecting your digital identity, a guide to cybersecurity and fraud prevention with your friends here at the United States Senate Federal Credit Union. So before we talk about how digital identity theft happens, it helps to define what we mean by your digital identity. If you've attended or webinars in the past, especially related to this topic, you all know that I love starting this type of presentations with some facts. Um, and before I do that, I want to let you know that your digital identity is a collection of information, credentials, accounts, and online activity that is connected to you. It is not limited to one password, one account, or one piece of personal information. It is also not limited. Um, I'm sorry. It is more to a large collection of information that gets connected to you that can provide easy access to a criminal. Everyone is aware of that. Organizations use part of this identity to recognize who you are, verify, uh, verify your info, give access to accounts, and complete any transactions if needed. So the concern is that if someone else may try to collect or misuse those same details, a criminal may not need every piece of your identity. Sometimes small amount of information can be combined with stolen credentials or account access to impersonate you or commit fraud. So with that being said, the number that you're seeing here, these are the data from 2025. The FBI or FBI unit, the Internet Crime Unit for the FBI, known as the IC3, received more than 1 million complaints involving suspected internet crime. Those complaints included reported losses exceeding 20 billion. And that is right. You're seeing that number correct. 20, I'm not saying a million, it is billions of losses that were reported in 2025. And by the way, if you hear my German Shepherd in the background, for those that may or may not know, that is Nico. He loves to partake on this webinars from time to time. So I do want to apologize ahead of time. If you do hear him in the background, he probably is going after a squirrel or something. So my apologies. He tends to be very loud. But getting back here to this number that you see here on the screen, so the IC3 reported this total amount, and believe it or not, this is not all and for one specific, dollar amount. It is actually a combination of different attacks, different scams, different type of criminal acts that took place and that was reported to the IC3. But again, it is also important to state on this one that um, the number that you see here, it may not be the accurate number, because we all know that oftentimes people, whether they're afraid, they're ashamed, or whatever the case might be, that may not report some of that information over to the FBI. So again, this number could easily be higher for 2025. And so it is important that you are aware of the total damage that this can cause, and what can we do to protect ourselves going forward, and so that we don't become another stats, specifically with the IC3. So again, that's the reason why we're doing this presentation for you all this evening, and we really hope that you can prepare to learn some of the things that you could do to prevent from becoming a victim of identity theft. So with that being said, as I was stating, what is your digital identity, right? So it is a combination of multiple data points, and the criminal, they're after this. They're after anything that they can find, and the concern is also is that oftentimes we might provide this information and make it easy for the criminals to find it in various forms, whether you are a person that likes to use social media, or sometimes you may store any personal information on with a specific companies, you name it. There are a lot of things that oftentimes we do, that could potentially put yourself at risk, and have your digital identity be taken away. And obviously, when it lands in the hands of the wrong person, it could easily create a lot of damage. So what we want to do today is that we want to look at the main types of informations that make up what we call your digital identity. So with that being said, what makes up your digital identity? So your digital identity is made up by several categories of information. The first one, I think, is very, very easy for everyone to understand, right? And that is going to be your personal information. So this is going to include any details such as your name, your birthdays, address, phone numbers, emails, and social security numbers. So these details are often used to identify you or confirm that you are who you claim to be. The second one is your sign-in credentials. So this include any usernames, passwords, security codes, passkeys, or other authentication methods. And these are especially important because they can provide direct access to your accounts. Also, your digital identity can include financial information such as account numbers, cards, payment details, and transaction history. This information may be used to make purchases, move money, or create convincing financial scams. And finally, it includes your digital activity. What do we mean with that? Well, so that may include social media posts, like I was saying earlier, any messages, photos, contacts, browsing activity, devices, and any location data that you may share with different applications. As you can see, each category has value on its own, but the risk becomes greater when information from several of these buckets that you see here is combined. For example, a scammer may use some personal details to gain your trust, sign-in information to access an account, and online activity to make an impersonation attempt to be more convincing. Together, these elements form a digital representation of who you are. Protecting your digital identity means protecting both that information itself and the access that can provide for anyone. So, let's talk about here your digital identity a little more deeper. So your digital identity can become exposed in several ways, and not all of them are within your control. I'm pretty sure everyone is familiar with the data breach, right? I think whenever this happens, especially when big companies or even federal agencies report that there has been a data breach, and that itself could provide a lot of information that is connected to you that was leaked without your control. Passwords are another major point of risk. Weak or reused passwords can allow criminals to access more than one account, especially when a password has already been exposed in a previous breach. Another thing is information that is publicly available can also be collected and misused. Social media profiles, people search sites, and oversharing may reveal details such as your birthday, address, employer, family connection, or perhaps travel plans. With that being said, let's also talk a little bit about devices. Devices, software, and apps can create additional risk. A lost phone number, malicious attachment, unsafe browser extension, or apps with excessive permission may reveal personal information, safe credentials, or account activity. Next, let's talk about all or unused accounts that are easy to overlook. They may still contain some personal information, relied on outdated passwords, or lack newer security protection. The key point is that exposure does not necessarily mean identity theft has already happened. It means that information or account access may now be available for someone to misuse. Once exposed, that information may be used to access an account, impersonate you, or commit fraud in your name. So, with that being said, let's look at what digital identity theft can actually look like. You may be surprised. So, digital identity theft can take several forms. It may involve taking control of an account that you already use, perhaps opening a new account in your name, using your financial information, or pretending to be you online. This is becoming very popular, believe it or not. Especially the account takeover, because this one happens when someone gains unauthorized access to an existing account, such as an email, financial, shopping, or social media. So this may begin with a stolen password, fake login page, security code, um, malware, or another compromised account. And let's also talk about the new account fraud. This one happens when someone uses your personal information to apply for credits, open an account, or obtain service in your name. The information may come from a data breach, like we were talking about in the previous slide, or perhaps phishing attempts, public record, or another exposed source. And financial loss can happen with or without full account takeover. A criminal may use stolen card or payment information directly or gain access to an account and make purchases, transfer funds, or change payment details. And let's also talk about the online impersonation, because this one involves using your name, images, personal details, or accounts to communicate or act as if they are you, the impersonation part, right? And this may include fake profiles, spoof messages, clone voices, or compromised social media and email accounts. And I'm gonna tell you this, and let me emphasize this particular one here because believe it or not, I was a victim of this one recently. Somebody had stolen one of my pictures and they got access to some of my contacts and they were sending out messages pretending to be myself with a phone number from an area code somewhere out in the Midwest, and they were pretending to be me, and it was a little scary because I got messages from some family members and friends stating that they were receiving messages from someone claiming to be me, and it was a little scary. So I'm gonna tell you what I did later on during the presentation, but listen, everything that you see here, as far as what digital identity theft can look like, it's a little scary because this form of identity theft can overlap. For example, an account takeover may give someone that information and access needed to impersonate you, target your context, or commit additional fraud. And that's what we're going to talk about here. Um, because scammers, they use different stories, but the pressure tactics, I'm sorry, behind them are often the same, and that is the urgency, right? Urgency is designed to make you act before you have time to stop and verify what's happening. Fear may involve claims that your money is at risk, your account will be closed, someone you care about is in danger, or you could face legal consequences. I know this one. This one used to be very popular. I know there's all the different tactics that are taking place now, but the fear, I know, especially during the tax seasons, they will be claiming to be, the IRS, and if you didn't make a payment over the phone right away, that they were going to send the sheriff's office and place you under arrest. Boy, I tell you, and that is the next one that we're going to talk about here, and which is the authority, right? Because authority works because people are more likely to respond when that request appears to come from a trusted source, right? Such as a financial institution, any government agency, an employer, or even worse, a law enforcement officer. And again, this is one of those things that the scammers love to use on their playbook. And another one is trust. Trust can be especially powerful when the message appears to come from a family member, a friend, a coworker, or a familiar company that you do business with. And last, the next one is also the secrecy, right? Because this one is going to discourage you from checking with someone else who might question the request or perhaps help you identify the scam. And let's also look at opportunity. Opportunity is the last one that we have here because opportunity is what creates excitement around a prize, investment, refund, job, or limited time offer. And I know we have this one at the end here, and we shouldn't, but again, this is just we place them over here so that you can have an idea as far as the playbook and what the scammers are using. But the opportunity part, I'm pretty sure that many of you might have heard the term of you perhaps got an email from someone in Africa letting you know that they're a prince and or some type of royalty family, and they had somebody left money under your name, and they just need to send money to cover the legal fees, and then they will send you anything that was left for you, and the story goes on and on and on. But the famous email from a royal family in Africa, that this was something that I'm pretty sure everyone might have heard, or probably has somebody that was a target for this particular tactic. Um, and again, this type of tactics are often used to convince people to reveal personal information, share security codes, approve logins, install software, or if you know about the particular scam that I was just talking, they might make you to move money. So send them money their way because you need to claim that money that was left for you, and it's thousands and thousands of dollars. And all you have to do is send them $500 so that they can get the legal process going and make sure everything is correct, and you will be receiving your inheritance back to you in the US. So again, be very, very careful, especially now with artificial intelligence or AI. Sure, you all seen this and how it's making waves, especially now with the way how AI is pretty much overtaking a lot of the different this type of scams. It's making it so much more credible that it's even scary because AI again doesn't what AI is doing. It's just giving the criminals a lot more tools that makes it easy for them to sound more convincing. So whenever they're sending you those phishing messages, those personalized scams with online information, um, the voice cloning or mimicking voices, faces, or writing styles. These are some of the things, especially that when they generate realistic profiles or videos. This is a result of from AI. And again, they're using AI to impersonate trusted individuals, organizations, or yourself. And the number of attacks that we're seeing from this type of approach it's very scary, and it's definitely on the rise. So one of the most common ways that these tools are used is definitely going to be the phishing. And so I love to, focus a little more on this particular one because I'm pretty sure that you might be familiar with this particular term. And again, let's dive into what phishing it's all about. So phishing, as I stated, this is going to be one of the most common ways criminals obtain information or access needed to commit any digital identity theft. An attempt may arrive by email, like this is the most popular one, text message, phone calls, social media message, or through a fake website. It is often appears to come from a trusted source, such as a financial institution, maybe a delivery company. You got something from FedEx, UPS, government agency. Ooh, the IRS need to make those pay those overdue taxes. Maybe your employer or someone that you know. And all it is just criminal is trying to obtain your usernames, passwords, maybe your one-time security code, any personal or financial information, or even approval for any login or password resets. They often begin with an urgent or deceptive message saying that the message, that you need to respond right away. This is urgent. Please click on this link or call this number. You name it. And we all know that especially if they're able to get into your password, a password may give a criminal part of what they need, a security code, password reset approval, or any login confirmation may provide the final step needed to get into your account. And we all know what happens once they're inside your account, right? They may be able to view any personal information, change account settings, reset password, move money, or impersonate you. So the safety response is to avoid any links, any attachments, and contact information in unexpected messages. So instead of going directly to the organization's official, instead you have to go directly to the organization official website or app, or use a trusted phone number that you already have if you are getting any of those type of messages saying, hey, click here, your account is compromised or something is going on. I need you to call this number or click on this link, or even worse, download this attachment that is important for you to open. And it's important to know that phishing is often more convincing when it's combined with impersonation, which it's what we are going to talk about next. So let's talk about impersonation. So impersonation scams, they work by borrowing the trust associated with real person or organization. The criminal may claim to represent a financial institution, government agency, a company, technical support service, or someone that you know. And the identity that they choose is usually the one that's most likely to make you respond. This type of scams can appear convincing because criminals may use real information about you, spoof phone numbers or email addresses, familiar logos, or in any language copied from a legitimate organization. Very scary if you ask me. They often create urgency by claiming there is a problem with an account, a legal issue, a financial emergency, or a threat to someone's safety. Knowing your name, employer, family connection, or account details does not prove the request is legitimate. That information may have come from social media, public records, any data breach, or a compromised account. We all know one thing, and that is that the goal is usually to persuade you into revealing any personal information or financial data that you may have. Share perhaps a security code, a proven login, or a transaction. Even worse, surrender any account access or to send money. Once the criminal obtains that information or access, they may take over your account, impersonate you, target your contacts, or commit fraud in your name. When a request involves money, account access, or sensitive information, you must pause and verify it independently. End the interaction and contact the person or organization using a trusted phone number, website, or apps. Do not, and I repeat, do not use any of the contact information that they are sending you. You have to do your own part, and that is, again, the most important, which is to pause and reach out to those organizations or whoever it is that they claim it to be and reach out to that particular person using a separate form of communication, not the one that they are giving you. And we all know that in some cases, that impersonation is only the beginning, unfortunately. The criminals may then ask you to open a file, install software, or give them remote access to your device. I'm sure we all have seen stories about these or heard that. And that is what we're going to talk about next. And that is the malware and remote access scams. So this one happens when, you know, when again, a person impersonates you or they send a phishing scam, and now they might be able to get into your personal devices. Um, Malware is a software designed to steal information, monitor any activity, damage a device, or provide unauthorized access. It also can be used to deliver through a malicious attachment, fake download, or software updates. Untrusted app or browser extension can also do that for you. So remote access scams are, they rely more directly on deception. They often begin with fake support calls. So if you all remember back in the day, what was it? I believe Geek Squad. There was one of those companies that comes to my mind. I don't know for some reason, but they used to provide remote access support whenever you are having issues with any of your computers. So they often again begin with one of those calls saying, pretending to be from support services, and again, they're gonna tell you or make it seem like there's a problem with your computer or your any device that you use or perhaps an account. And the criminal probably they're going to ask you to install remote access software, share your screen, or give them permission to control the device. The software itself, and let me make sure that I'm clear with this one, because oftentimes the software itself may be legitimate, might be one of those that are used for good purposes, but the person using it on the other end, it may not be. So once the criminal have access to that, they may be able to view any saved passwords, any personal files, messages, photos, browser activity, any financial information, and accounts that are already signed in. So they may also watch what you type or persuade you to enter credentials while they are connected. That's why a compromised device can affect several parts of your digital identity all at once. One device may provide a path to your email, financial accounts, social media, contacts, and store personal information. So we need you to be cautious of unexpected technical support requests. Do not, and I repeat, do not install software, share your screen, or allow remote access unless you are the one initiating the contact through a trusted source and have independently verified who you're dealing with. Um, because when a criminal obtains credentials or device access, the next step may be taking control of an account. And that is what we're going to look next. So, account takeover is different. It's a different form. Um, I'm sorry, account takeover is different from someone opening a new account in your name. It involves an account that you already own, something that it's been established for a long time. Common targets include email, financial, government benefits, healthcare, business, retail, and social media accounts. These accounts may contain personal information, financial details, messages, contacts, saved payment methods, or access to other devices. Email deserves special attention because it often serves as the recovery point for many other accounts. Someone with access to your email may be able to intercept a password reset message, approve new devices, change security settings, and take over additional accounts. So, with that being said, that makes a compromised email account especially dangerous. It can become the key to a much larger part of your digital identity. Once a criminal gains control of an account, they may lock you out, steal information or money, make purchases, change account details, or impersonate you. This is why account takeover is a form of digital identity theft. The criminal is using an established part of your digital identity and acting as though it belongs to them. Very, very scary. With that being said, it is important that you never share your access code. A one-time access code is a temporary security credential used to confirm a login, password reset, new device, transaction, or account change. These codes are meant to confirm actions that you personally initiated. They should never be read out loud, sent by text message or email, or enter at someone else's directions. Do not, and I repeat, do not approve a login, password reset, or account change if you do not initiate the request yourself. An unexpected code or approval notification may be a warning that someone is trying to access your account. This will be a huge red flag. A caller or message sender may know your name, financial institution, or other personal details, but that does not prove that the request is legitimate. Caller ID, email addresses, and text message sender information can also be spoofed. If that's you, you need to end the interaction and contact the organization through its official app, website, or a trusted phone number that you used in the past to reach them. Treat access code like passwords, right? Keep them private. Use them only for actions that you initiated. Requests for security codes are one important warning sign. Next, we're going to look at other red flags that may indicate a possible scam, and that is recognizing the red flag. So, scammers may use different stories, but the warning signs are often similar. One of those is going to be pressure, right? Pressure. You need to act right away. They want you to, to have that sense of urgency. keep you from slowing down, checking the facts, or asking someone else for any advice. It's just one of those tactics that unfortunately they work for them. Another one is those threats, right? And alarming claims that may involve losing money, having an account closed, facing legal consequences, or putting someone's safety at risk. The other is the request for password, access codes, or login approvals that are especially serious because they may give a criminal direct access to an account. Another one is the instructions to move money may be presented as a way to protect your funds, reverse fraud, or transfer money to a so-called safe account. A legitimate financial institution will not instruct you to move money to protect it from fraud. Also, this is the one we were just recently talking about, and that is the request to install software, share your screen, anytime you see something like that, please stop. That's a big red flag. And if you're getting any links or web addresses that do not match the official source, when you click on them or when you access them, that again, it's another thing that you should be able to use as a caution, and do not proceed any further. And lastly, it's going to be the demand for secrecy. This is another major warning sign because the criminals may tell you not to contact your financial institution, any family, employer, or law enforcement because independent verification could expose the scam. So, as you can see here, not every suspicious interaction will include every red flag that we're talking about here. One warning sign may be enough to stop, end the interaction, and verify the request through a trusted source. We all know that recognizing the warning sign is important, but knowing how to respond in the moment is just as important. And that is going to bring us to these three simple actions: pause, verify, and protect. So, when something feels urgent, unexpected, or unusual, the safest first step is to pause. Press the pause, take a break. Do not click a link, reply to the message, approve a login, send money, download a file, or share any information while you're still inside the interaction. Criminals depend on quick reactions, so even a brief pause can reduce the risk. Next, verify the request independently. Do not use the phone number, link, or website provided by the suspicious contact. Instead, open the organization's official app, type it on the web address yourself, use a trusted phone number, or contact the person through a separate channel. If the request is fraudulent, protect yourself by ending the interaction right away. Block the number and report the sender in any and review any account that may have been affected during the interaction. And also check for any unfamiliar activity, any recent logins, any connected devices, or change to an account settings. Update your password or other security protections if there is any reason to believe information was shared or access was attempted. The key point is that verification should happen outside the original message, call, or website. Never allow a suspicious contact to control how you confirm whether that request is legitimate. Pausing and verifying can help stop a scam in the moment. So next, we're gonna shift into the steps that you can take in advance to reduce any exposure and strengthen your digital identity. And let's talk about this here, right? This is so important. I know oftentimes we may take this for granted, but have you thought about perhaps that this may be a good point or a good sign that we may need to reduce any of the digital footprints that we are creating ourselves? So, especially with social media, review who can see your posts, profile details, photos, and contact information. Avoid sharing any sensitive details such as your full birthday, any home addresses, travel plans, or information that could help someone answer security questions. people search website. This is another one. This is a big one because they collect information from public records and any other sources. Wherever possible, please review this listing and use the site's opt-out process to remove your information from it. If you see, do a Google search, put your name and see what comes up. And go to this website and make sure that you use that tool to opt out so the information is not shared there. Another one is those apps that request access to your location, contacts, camera, microphone, or other data. It is important that you review those permissions often and remove access if that is no longer necessary for the app to function. Also, any unused accounts that are also easy to overlook, they may still contain personal information, say payment details, or outdated security settings. Delete accounts that you no longer need, and remove stored payment information where it is no longer necessary. And remember that the goal is not to disappear online or eliminate every possible risk. It is to give criminals fewer details to collect, combine, and misuse. And one thing for sure is that reducing exposure is one part of protecting your digital identity. And the next step is to how to strengthen the password that protects your accounts, which we know is very, very important. So protecting your passwords. So passwords, again, this is going to remain one of the main barriers protecting your digital identity and online accounts. Use a long, unique password or passphrase for every account. The longer passwords are generally harder to guess, especially when they do not rely on predictable words or personal details. Avoid using any names, birthdays, addresses, pet names, and any other information that may be easy to find online. Details from your digital footprints can sometimes help criminals guess weak password or security answers. And it's also important to never, never reuse passwords across accounts. Every online account that you have should have its own password. So do not reuse the same password with other accounts. And also, a reputable password manager can generate and securely store strong, unique passwords so that you do not have to create or remember each one of them yourself. This is very important, and I'm sure our special guest is going to probably talk about that here towards the end of this presentation, and that is the password manager. Also, change a password immediately if you learn that it appeared on any data breach. If you search and see if any of your emails or anything was compromised, first thing that you want to do is to change your password right away and act immediately. And also, don't forget to never share a password by phone, email, or text, or a chat. A legitimate organization should not ask you to provide your password. They should never ask you. And if they do, please hang up. You probably are not talking to somebody that's legitimate. And it's also important to protect your email account, especially because, as I stated, email is often used to recover passwords or perhaps do password resets. And so if the criminal gets access to your email, that could make things a lot easier for them. And lastly, a strong password is important. You know, this is what we call the first layer of protection, but it should not be the only layer protecting your account. Let's talk about additional ways on how you can verify your identity when you sign in. And you probably, if you've been in this previous presentations in the past, you know that I am one of the biggest promoters of multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication in passkeys. Because as I stated, strong password is important, right? But it should not be the only barrier protecting your accounts. The multi-factor authentication, you know, this one pretty much uses two or more ways for you to verify your account. So whenever you log in, there should be another layer, right? It should you should be selecting this regardless. I think that most financial institutions or legitimate companies allows you to opt in for this option, and I highly recommend for you to opt in into that. The other thing too is the two-factor authentication, right? Or the 2FA. So the two-factor authentication, they it's a type of multi-factor that uses additional methods. For example, you may opt in to use your fingerprint, your photo ID, or your selfie, I'm sorry, as a passkey to access an account. And again, it's truly important that you do that. The other one, the passkey, this is our this passkey are newer sign-in methods that can replace a traditional password. This allow you to sign in using your device. So if you're going into a website and you're logging in, it will ask you for your username or email. And then on top of that, when you click sign in, it's going to ask you, do you want to use a two-factor authentication or you want to use a passkey? Passkey, the way it works is you most likely are going to get a QR code, pull up your device, scan that, and it will ask you whether you want to approve the login into that particular account. Highly recommended as well. And lastly is the one-time security code. Those are temporary credentials. They're used to confirm any login, any password reset, transaction, or any other sensitive action. As we discussed earlier, use a code only for an action that you personally initiated and never share it with someone else. So again, be very mindful. If you receive any unexpected code or login approval request, deny it and review the account for sign-ins of unauthorized activity. And whenever possible, choose stronger authentication options such as passkeys, authenticator apps, or physical security keys rather than relying only on text message codes. So this is one of the advices that we want to give you because we want you to build a safer digital habits. Because a strong account can also depend on everyday habits that we all do on a daily basis, right? So we need to start by locking every device with a PIN, password, fingerprint, or facial recognition. This is going to help you protect your information and any accounts that are connected to the device that you have. Keep your operating system, browser, apps, and security software updated. Make sure, and I know for some people this could be annoying, that it's your computer saying, "Hey, an update is required. Please do it." Do not skip the part. Also, anytime you download any software apps or browser extension and updates, make sure that you're doing that from trusted sources. Do not use any fake downloads, especially if you receive an email saying, "Hey, your app needs an update. Click here to update your app." Do not repeat. Do not do that. Also, it is important that you avoid signing into an email, financial, healthcare, or any other sensitive account over public Wi-Fi. This is a huge, huge no. You want to make sure that you use a private, trusted private connection whenever possible if you need to access any of those accounts. And also, pay attention to any security alerts, login notification, and recent account activity. Unexpected logins, passwords change, new devices, or transactions may be early signs that account may have been compromised. It is also a good practice to back up valuable files and information. Backups do not prevent identity theft, but they can reduce the net damage caused by malware, any device loss, or another compromises that you may encounter. As you can see, these habits may seem small, but when you combine them, put them together, it makes it harder for the criminal to do damage on your behalf. So again, important that you start implementing these small digital habits that could perhaps play a huge, huge role down the road and perhaps help you avoid becoming another number for the stats. Do not be added to the 20 billion number that I started this presentation with. It is important. And with that being said, here at the United States Senate Federal Credit Union, we provide several tools that can help you monitor your account, protect your cars, respond quickly when something does not look right. So we want to make sure that all the information on your online account is current. Um, and by using your online account, my USSFCU, you can set any account alerts, review transactions and statements often. Please do this part. Use card controls to lock and unlock your cars, especially if you misplace your car or you lost it. And if you need to reach out to us, you can send us a secure message using my USSFCU. It's pretty easy, simple. It comes directly to one of our amazing employees, and they will reach out to you. And again, if you see something suspicious, please report it right away. Do not wait. The sooner you act, the easier it will be for you to take control of anything that may be happening. Um, and again, if you believe your digital identity is compromised, one of the things that we recommend is that you secure your online accounts right away. Contact any of those financial institutions or businesses where your account has been compromised. Place a fraud alert. This is something that we highly recommend. And it can be easily done by reaching out to one of the three credit bureaus, so Equifax, TransUnion, or Experian. I'm sorry. If you reach out to them and have them place a security alert, that alert will go to the other two bureaus, so that you don't have to reach out to each one of them. And another thing is to staying with the credit topic here is that and one that I'm a big advocate, and that is to freeze your credits. Freeze it. Your credit should never be open unless you know that you're going to be applying for any particular loan or credit account. Then you can do a temporary lift. You set the dates for a time frame. How much time do I need? Especially, let's say you are in the market to buy a car, and then you want to it's going to take you about a week or so or more. You can set a time frame, and then you can do a temporary lift for your credits, so that your credit can be open during that time frame. After that, the freeze goes back in place, and it should stay there for as long as you need it. And lastly, report any identity theft to the FTC. That is one of the things that we recommend. They can provide you with the steps needed to make sure that you protect yourself. Again, this is the difference between the fraud alerts versus the credit freeze. The difference between a fraud alert, this one is going to require any financial institutions that you're applying to. If they see a fraud alert, they must reach you and contact you with the number that you provided to the credit bureaus. This type of alerts, they're going to be there and they're going to remain for 1 year. And if you need to renew it, you could do so, but you just have to reach out to the credit bureaus on yourself and tell them that you want to place another security alert, and it will go back in place there for another 12 months. All you have to do is just reach to one of the bureaus, as I stated, TransUnion, Equifax, or Experian. And once you do that, they communicate with the other two bureaus, and an alert will be placed. Um, and obviously, this is going to keep your credit report accessible. So that is the fraud alerts. Now let's talk about the credit freeze. So the credit freeze, again, this is going to restrict access to your credit report as a whole. It's going to remain there until you decide that you want to lift it or remove it. And to do this, as I stated, you need to reach out to all the three bureaus in order to have a credit freeze. So you could have a credit freeze with just one company, but if you don't freeze it with the other two, your credit will remain open. And so again, this is one of the things that I recommend, because it's going to protect you from getting anyone to perhaps open any accounts under your name. So again, very important that we do so. And three things to remember right before we get into the end of this presentation, and that is that please limit what you share. Reduce any unnecessary personal information in your digital footprint. It is important that we do that. Strengthen how you sign in. Make sure that you're using those multi-factor authentication, your passkeys, or the two-factor authentication whenever possible. If the organization gives you that option, please, it's a no-brainer. Sign in, opt in for that option. Do not rely just on a strong password. And lastly, and the most important thing that I want to share here with everyone is to pause. Pause before you act. Verify any unexpected requests involving money, information, or any account access, especially if they show urgency that you need to act right away. Please make sure that you pause. Some of those trusted resources that we want to leave you with this presentation, obviously the one that I talked about, and that is the identitytheft.gov. If you are a victim, if you become a victim of that, this is where you want to go. You can file a report there, and they will create a personalized recovery plan with all the steps that you need to do in order to get everything back on track. The IC3.gov website, again, as I stated at the beginning, this is from the FBI. This is where you want to report any internet scams, cybercrime, and any online fraud. This is what you want to do, and it is important. Oftentimes, depending on the company, they might ask you to file a report with them. The CISA.gov, this is pretty much is a straightforward guidance for protecting your account and devices. They have so much valuable information here. If you haven't visited this website, I highly recommend that you do that. They provide very important and straightforward guidance on how to be on top of all of your all your accounts, and how you can provide additional layers to protecting yourself. And lastly, the annualcreditreport.com. This is straightforward. This is where you want to go. We recommend that a person checks their credit at least once every 3 months, just to make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be. If you see something suspicious there, if you see any increase, if you see an account that you didn't open, you need to act right away. So do not wait, and act. The quickest you act, the easier it will be for you to get everything back on track. And With that being said, I just want to thank you all for your time this evening. We really hope that you found this information helpful. I know we covered a lot of information here, but we truly hope that you found this information very valuable, and that you can take something away. And I know that perhaps one of the questions will be, we're going to share a copy of this presentation, and the answer to that is yes. I guess this is a great segue for us to get into the Q&A. So Andrea, Jornika, and I see that Mohammed is also on this call as well too. So I'm gonna pause here, take a little break myself. But Andrea, Jornika, I might hand it right back to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Milton. That was an amazing presentation. That was a lot to cover. I hope you guys learned a lot from that. I know that we have a lot of questions that we need to get to. So I'm going to kick it off first, Andrea, with the first question in the Q&A. The first question, and Mohammed, I believe you're on as well. So please feel free to chime in. The first question we have here is, why don't the government consider changing Social Security numbers, adding other numbers or alphas, ALAFAS? I don't know, Mohammed, do you happen to know the answer to that?
Okay, guys, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, welcome.
Hello. Okay, that is perfect. Thank you guys for having me. It's always an honor being part of such a great webinar. And Milton, like I always say, I couldn't be more proud of how eloquently and how accurately you've given us such a plethora of knowledge on financial security awareness. So hats off to you, man. Hats off. Regarding that question, it's like it would be the best if the government acts in a way that advances our security. But as we know, the government is the most laid back and the last to follow any great development because just the scale of implementing the social security number change or anything in that it's going to equate to billions of dollars in fundings. So that is, you know, what the government doesn't like, basically. So the government is for us mostly, but sometimes on a larger scale, if it was a smaller country like in Europe or somewhere else, it would have been easier to implement it. But such a large scale country as the US, it's really difficult. So yeah, hopefully we would get there soon where they would allow us, if for example our social security number is compromised, they would allow us to rotate it, you know, on a socialsecurity.gov app or something. So it could give us a unique number that we can only use that's tied to our ID. If anybody else steals it, that would help immensely in identity theft cases.
Thank you so much, Mohammed, for answering that question. And our next question is, mistakes are rare these days with AI and typos or other errors that aren't as obvious. I'll have to, okay, that's a comment. That's from Carrie, because it was regarding the, don't they usually have typos in logos and names? So the next question is most 2FA services support only email or text messages and not separate apps. So if you're looking into bank accounts only or only support email or text messages, it's better than nothing, but not the best. So we're at the mercy of bank slash federal credit unions. It's another comment. Sorry. Um, and the actual question is why doesn't the credit union use two FAs or passkeys for logging into online banking?
Andrea, I can take that one, Mohammed. And we do. The USSFCU does. You will have to opt in. If you opt in, you will have a two-factor authentication where you can use your face recognition or you can receive a text message to verify. But again, remember, as I stated during the presentation, this is something that you have to manually go into your settings, go to your security, and then you can opt in to have the two-factor authentication. So we do have that. United States Federal Credit Union does offer the two-factor authentication. If you have any questions or need any help with that, please give us a call, 800 374-2758, and then we can walk you through if you're having a hard time opting in for the two-factor authentication. So absolutely, we truly do here because again, as I stated during this presentation, you know, we try to do everything that we can to help protect your accounts from being compromised.
Thank you so much. And the next question is, what if you lose your phone? How do you ensure the apps and passkeys work?
Okay, if you, for example, lose your phone, that's a great question. Losing your phone is losing your life, basically, in this day and age. So if you, for example, God forbid, we don't wish this on our enemies. If you lose your phone, the best way is to, if you're using an iPhone or any Android device, to have a backup. That if, for example, your phone is compromised, you could do a remote wipe on your phone if it's an Android phone, or you could your phone's locked via iCloud, so they cannot access your credentials or anything. Please make sure that you have a PIN on your phone and your phone is just not open for anybody to see and go through your stuff. Make sure you have it secure. You have a code. Everybody, you know, it's basic now. Uh, um, you know, like knowledge to have a security pass on your lock screen. So yeah, have that. Make it secure And if you lose it, you could restore your phone to a new phone via iCloud backup. It would make all the passkeys, your stored credentials in your password manager, in your iPhone or your apps to be on the new phone just as they were on your previous phone. So that's a good habit to build. Always back up your stuff, guys.
Thank you. And then somebody said, I have many passwords and managing them is getting very difficult. How safe is a password manager? What happens if the manager has been compromised?
Okay, so that's an excellent question. Like Milton said, the password manager is what we push for users to use. Like for example, you cannot just have like a lot of users are guilty of having one password, one ring to rule them all. That does not make sense. If your password, for example, on your Roku account or somewhere else is breached, then, for example, it's common knowledge they can, if somebody has malicious intent or trying to destroy your life or trying to steal your identity, they would go to these boards or these Discord chats or Slack chats and hacker chats. They can get that data easily, and then they can basically compromise every single thing that you have because you chose to have a single password for your Gmail account, for your bank account, for your educational university account, for you name it, right? The list goes on. So a password manager, such as Bitwarden or another that Bitwarden is recommended by us, but any other password manager that you use, like Keeper or anything else, they're all great because they store your passwords encrypted. And they have mechanisms. For example, if your password manager is like you lose your phone or your password manager doesn't have give you a backup key that you can use to restore your passwords or get access to it. It's in case of emergencies. Nobody can access that password manager. And if you try to reset your password, there are policies in which it is then even if you are the one trying to reset it, it will automatically delete every single password that it's stored for your safety and your precaution. And what it does is that a lot of password managers have, like, for example, if you, for example, are using a website, USSFCU, and you have a password, and now it's checking the dark web for all the password databases that have been compromised for your password. And if it sees that your password's been compromised in a data breach, it tells you. So you can automatically generate a very high sensitive password that is very hard to breach with it's cryptographic and it's going to be really hard to breach and it's going to take millions of years for hackers. With quantum computing, it's changing, but still we're on top of the game on trying to use encryption in a progressive way where we can secure the user. So yeah, password manager is the best way you can keep yourself from being compromised. And if a password manager is compromised, it has mechanisms where, for example, if somebody's trying to brute force and it automatically deletes every single password, then obviously, if you're the owner of that account, you can go in, do the verification steps. Yeah, it would be a little hectic, but at least you're safe. You would have to, use a forget password option and restore your passwords and try new passwords generated by that password manager. So it has unique passwords, and a password also manager also protects you from hieroglyph attacks. Like for example, if it looks like Facebook, but it has like acrylic or some other format of writing. And you click on that link, it seems legitimate, but it's not like, for example, the same website. And you put your credentials in it, so your Facebook's now compromised. So a password manager detects that effectively by looking at the website, verifying that it's genuine, and then only gives your credentials to use, and it auto-populates it. So it makes it way easier. So it's a one and done deal. You just click on one button and it autofills your username and your password. So it is a very good habit in this day and age to have different passwords for different websites.
Thank you.
Next question.
Thank you so much. So the next question is, when commercial companies experience a credit breach, they offer you free credit monitoring for a year with one of the credit bureaus, but the fine print gives them the right to collect and sell your data. Um, are there other alternatives that will protect me without giving them access to my data?
Mohammed, you
Okay.
want to take that one?
That is a Milton question.
The Javier Milton question. And yeah, I'd love to respond now because again, as I stated, I actually myself I've been on that side of the of the field, if you will. Oftentimes, they will provide either a year, two. I know I seen when my information was breached with the Department of Homeland Security, they actually gave me the option for 3 years to do credit monitor. And again, at the end of the day, it really comes down to you. They provide phone numbers there as well. So if you want to use a different company to monitor your credit, you're more than welcome to do so. And I highly recommend that you call the number and see if they can provide their option to cover the fee for that because they're paying for the protection itself. For you to have those services, but if you're not happy with those companies, you're more than welcome to call them and express your concern if you don't want to provide that information to that particular company. Again, you're free to explore other options. I personally, I know that this is what I did. I went with a company that the government recommended, just because it was easier. But again, at the end of the day, it really comes down to how you feel, how comfortable are you. And you're right. You are opting in. You are providing them with your information. But sometimes that is what is needed in order for them to monitor and fully have kind of like a hawk all over yourself to make sure that nothing funny is happening and that no one is trying to do harm with the breach that has happened. So, but again, if you looked at the disclosures in there, they also provide a number for you contact in case, if you want to express additional concerns. But that is again another great question. So thank you for that
And
question.
Milton, as far as selling your data or giving your data to third parties, there should be an option to opt out of that for almost every company, right? So another question
Yeah.
to ask if you call them, be like, or there should be a box to select as you go further. Just saying in marketing, I know
Yeah.
you're supposed to.
Uh, Absolutely, and then they're supposed to provide you with a disclosure as to what they do with your information, and so gives you the option to opt in or out as well. So if you don't want that information to be shared, obviously you'll definitely select the option to opt out of that. But yes, and it's a right. It's a right that you have as a consumer. So absolutely, thank you for bringing that point, Kira. That's a great point.
All right, thank you for that, guys. We have another question in the chat. Are you seeing passkeys recommended? And should we say, remember this computer? I occasionally use my cell phone to access my accounts. So, how many instruments will the bank remember? Mohammed, I don't know if you can
Yeah,
take
guys.
that one.
So, the question, is the passkey. For example, if you remember your device, that is, like, people don't have that many devices. For example, you may be having two phones or three phones max, or you would have given access to your family. So it verifies with your main number, that your cell phone number, your email number, it switches between two like, they have different federal credit unions and banks do try to ensure that it's you who is accessing that account through a valid device. And it also checks the backlog on the location you're located at, what IP you're using, if your IP changed, or if you're using a secure network or not. So it gives you a lot of pointers. The websites that banks are using right now or credit unions are using are very sophisticated now because of a lot of misuse and abuse by threat actors. So you could remember your device and the a credit union or the bank website would remember it. There's no threshold specifically to it. There's a lot of verification built into the concept that it uses multiple like avenues of verification. Your location, who is it, when is it done, from where it's being done, which device is it, and for example, what verification's been done. Is your passcode, security passcode in? Yeah, if it's asking you to verify with your name or your social security, do you have access to that data? Then after that, it sends a verification code on your authorized number that you have on that bank account or that bank website or any website you're using. So it verifies multiple times before enrolling that device into an authorized device. So yeah, and after that, there's some banks I know of that I've been using. What they do is they have a threshold of like 60 days, 90 days. They then try to ask you again on, hey, is this device still in your possession, or you're using it or not? If you know you've been not using that account, that the account's been stagnant, so it does the verification process again for our betterment. So yeah, it's always good.
Oh, okay, awesome. Thank you for that, Mohammed. All right, we have a few more. Um, the next question is going to be, both my husband and my medical institution had a data breach. As a result, all of our personal data is out there, including social security numbers, names, address. What do you recommend we do?
Well, that's a great question. I would love to take this one, Mohammed, if you don't mind. But in essence, is what I was just talking about towards the end of the presentation, and that is to reach out to one of the credit bureaus and place a fraud alert. Um, all you have to do again is reach out to either Experian, TransUnion, or Equifax. Tell them what happened. Send in the form if you want to do it online, and provide a phone number that you must be contacted if the event somebody's trying to apply for any loans or anything that they want to do under your name, that any financial institution will call you on the number that you provided when the fraud alert was placed. That is one thing that I highly, highly recommend. Obviously, the other one is place a freeze on your credit, so that any new accounts, they try to be open. That is something that I would recommend. And also, reaching out to different identity entities, I'm sorry, such as Social Security, IRS. You can definitely reach out to them and let them know what's happened, so that they have something on file that your information has been compromised. But again, being taking a proactive approach. If that's what happened to you, is what we recommend. But immediately place those fraud alerts and freeze your credit is what we recommend immediately, right away. Don't wait, don't hesitate. It's free. You're not paying for it. It is just again another piece of layer of security that you're implementing that hopefully will give you a peace of mind. But and again, don't forget the fraud alert expires after 12 months, so you have to call them. You can set a reminder on your phone or calendars, whatever you use, to make sure that you're placing those alerts every 12 months. I know it could be, inconvenient, but the damage that that could happen if you don't do that, it's way greater than taking that 30 minutes to place that alert. So, but great question.
Thank you for that. All right, our next question is, I have found that eye and fingerprints not always working well, so still need a password. So that doesn't really sense to me regarding security. If you have passwords and MFA and 2FA, which to me means the same, how does one really passkeys alleviate this? I'm assuming they're asking how does the passkey alleviate if the eye or fingerprint option does not work for their passcode.
Right. Well, I mean, you want to take it?
Yeah. So for example, if I understood the question correctly, if you have a key, again, you're privy to that. You know it. It makes it easier sometimes, but it comes on when it's failing. Biometrics, biometric verification. So if the biometrics are failing, then it goes over to the passkey. But some things, like for example, if you're on, if you're talking about your phone, if you're in an app store or you're doing purchases or something like that, it fails over to your passkey at the end, and it makes sure that if you're using your app store or it's an app purchase, it makes you enter your email or iCloud or the password that you know to let you install it or do anything to that device. So there's multiple ways of like verifying again. And again, if you're using your like you have Apple Wallet or something like that, it makes sure that it's like working with your biometrics. If it fails, then it goes blank. It doesn't allow you to use your uh, anybody's cards or any financial instrument to make a payment or something. Yeah. So that if I understood the question correctly, yeah. So the passkey is a failover that it fails over to when the biometrics fail, but at the end, it is another way of verifying. But there are multiple things then required because it's gonna again try to verify, again try to verify. So how devices are built are very secure, and the engineers and developers that put these facilities, financial or private data facilities or chatting or like your communication applications, they make sure that they have multiple security mechanisms in place. So in case of a breach or in case of compromise, like for example, if you share your WhatsApp token with somebody, even if it's not your device, your whole WhatsApp session would go onto their phone, or they could use your QR code to have WhatsApp on their laptop, accessing like that, looking at your messages. So you have to be mindful and vigilant and educated on what to share, what not to share, and always pausing because, like Milton said, what they take advantage of, like as you can be as secure as you want. We could have like a million security uh tools and security layers in place, multiple layers of security, but the biggest layer is the human layer. And you have to be intelligent and vigilant. What hackers exploit is human emotion, whether it's pressurizing time, and there's another emotion that they use against you. It's your own greed. Sometimes you know it's too good to be true, but your greed overwhelms you so much that you're like, hey, it's a $500 bonus if I open this card. Okay, let them have my social security number. It's 500 bucks, right? So you're like, okay, but it's gonna cost you. So always take, like, like measure twice and cut once, and always take like a breath and ask somebody, and always verify that this is legitimate, or like they take advantage of your emotions. And sometimes you feel so guilty about it. For example, if you do it in your greed, you're gonna be like, even if I report it, it's all gonna come back to me. Like at the end, it was me who did it in my like greedy, or my fearful, or whatever tactic that they used to exploit your weakness. So, but never be like, hesitant on reporting if you made a mistake. You're a human, right? All of us make mistakes, and making mistakes is what makes us humans. But do not make mistakes that put you in a financial hole. So that's the main reason of educating you with this webinar, So you are equipped with the skills, and your financial security aptitude is to a level where nobody can easily compromise you.
Thank you, Mohammed. So to follow up to that question, this person also stated, I do understand that, but don't see the advantage of passkeys since you still have to put a password or biometrics, correct? And then there's an additional question after that.
Yeah, at the end, you're right. It can be more secure. Like, for example, back in the day, Samsung phones had literal passwords. You had an option between switching. They went from patterns to numbers to accurate passwords. But people started forgetting their passwords, and they started getting locked out. So at the end, it is like if your phone has a passkey or something, right? It's the best you can do, but it's not like saying that that passkey could be like compromised. You could switch a rule on that passkey. You could have multiple passcodes on your iPhone applications. You could go to an individual application and put a different passcode on it, or
Mm.
have biometrics to verify that you get access to the application or not. For example, if you're using WhatsApp, you're using any other application that you want to use, Facebook or anything that you want to keep private, your bank account application. So it already has multiple ways, right? So there's a lot of, like I say, layers that you can utilize for that weakness that obviously are right about. That passkeys are not a good layer of security, but at the end of the day, it's the best user friendly experience because these companies are not hyper security focused, they're also business focused. And in terms of security and business, you guess what wins always? It's business that wins. So business is on top of all the utilization, all the customer base and everything. So yeah, you can use different like like applications that are secure to secure other applications inside your phone that you are wary about and have multiple layers of verification in there. So yeah, you just gotta improvise. When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade.
Thank you so much for that, Mohammed. So we're down to our last few. Our next one is going to be if your computer or mobile device is hacked, do passkeys really make sense with a question mark? So saying I set up passkeys and then my computer is compromised, what protection is guaranteed to protect attackers gaining access to my accounts?
Okay, let me read that question again.
Sure.
Uh, could you
Oh,
read that question again, Shanika? Yeah.
yes. If your
Yep.
computer or mobile device is hacked, do passkeys really make sense? So
hmm
saying I set up passkeys and then my computer is compromised, what protection is guaranteed to protect attackers gaining access to my accounts?
Like for example, being unpredictable, like I said. If your
Mhm.
passkey is there, that's just one method of verification and getting you to a pivot that you could use to get access to your email. Now, your email doesn't use the same passkey that your phone or your laptop uses. Your email can have a different passcode, a different, for example, sorry, password, and you could use a phrase or, like password managers give you that capability of having individual credentials for different websites or different applications that you're utilizing. So if, for example, you're breached or some threat actor is in your phone, what you could do is they can compromise you to an extent. They can't move laterally all of a sudden unless until you have a sticky note in your phone that is not protected, that has all your credentials. So yeah, then you're doomed. But if you have your passwords and your credentials secure and safe, then there's not that much that they can do with your devices. And the other thing is network. Disconnect your phone. Put your phone on airplane mode. Turn off your phone. Try to restore it, reset it, and then have your phone ASAP. You could even if you like, for example, turn off your phone. What are the hackers using? They're using the network to compromise your laptop. So the best way is the old-fashioned way. Unplug your router. Give them no access. Scorched earth methodology, and just try to protect yourself. And then reach out to the experts, the pros that you are in contact with. If you're working for an organization, they have their IT team. Reach out to them. They will sanitize your device for you, like we do. If there's a compromise for our, like employees, they know they can reach out to us at any time, and we would isolate their device, contain it, quarantine it, and then sanitize it and send them a new device, fresh. And then we can do our own root cause analysis and our own, like determine what were you at fault, or who has liability of the compromise, how it was compromised, when it was done, and what was the method they used. So, you have to remember in this day and age now, any sort of compromises are held legally liable if you are making mistakes after. Why do you think the companies are investing in social, managed security awareness programs, spending thousands of dollars, thousands of dollars on these campaigns? Because they want to reduce risk and liability. For example, if there was an employee that compromised the whole company, they could be like, yes, this employee is held liable because we made sure we did our due diligence. So you have to remember that now there are consequences to the actions that we make. So be ever vigilant on what you do, how you do it, and how there you give them access. And if you're trained, they have a hard time just maintaining persistence in your device. To So those are the points that come into my mind, that it's not one click and compromise your whole device. It takes Make sure that you have a way of diversifying your credentials, of keeping yourself secure.
Thank you, Mohammed, for that. Our final question is going to be a mention of card control. We card control. Can someone please explain that?
Absolutely, Jordan. And again, before I answer these questions, I know this is probably the longest we ever run into a webinar, but it just goes to show you the commitment that we stay from the moment we started this webinar, and actually back to about 3.5 years ago, right, Carrie? We created this commitment that we want to answer every question before we let you go. And again, I want to thank you all for staying all the way through the end. And the card control feature is something that we offer to all of our members in our online banking. What that does for you, card control gives you the access to control exactly what that says, right? Control your debit card or your credit card that you have here with the United States Senate Federal Credit Union. You can set limits, spending limits. You can block the card, close it, turn it on, turn it off. If the card does not need to be available for anyone, or you want to set kind of a what's the word I'm looking for here? So if you are really want to help yourself from spending money that is not required, you can just go ahead and turn off the card. You turn it off and you're trying to swipe it, it will not go through. It will be declined. And again, that's what card control does for you. It gives you the ability to, in essence, do what you want with your debit card or credit card. Especially, it comes in handy in the event that you perhaps misplaced it, and you can't find it. If you think it's at home, you don't want to report it as lost, but you just want to make sure that if it comes into the hands of the wrong person, that they won't be able to use it. If you find the car again, then again, you can go ahead and reactivate it, get it going. But if for some reason it's completely lost and you have no idea where it's at, then again, you will just report it lost there. And then we'll go ahead and send you a new car in the mail for you. Or if you're in the DC area, stop by one of our locations and then we can give you one instant issue card right on the spot. But that, in essence, in a nutshell, that's what card control does for you. And again, I know We've gone through a lot during this presentation, and we really want to thank you all for being with us all the way to the end. Most important, our special guest tonight, Mohammed. We appreciate all your information that you provided us today, man. It's so valuable, and all of our members truly enjoy your expertise. We know that this is it. This is for you. This is your I don't want to say your baby, but this is what you enjoy, because you preach it to all of our employees here at the credit union, and you do such an amazing job. So we want to thank you. We know you're busy, and we ask you to come in and be part of this webinar. So thank you so much for doing that. But before I let you all go, I know Andrea was bugging me. She's saying, Milton, we need to remind people what we're going to talk about next week, right, Andrea?
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing?
Okay, so next week, our webinar will be Building Financial Freedom, Small Steps and More Choices. So,
Just in time for 4th of July, national, and also that day is National Financial Freedom Day.
even better.
That is outstanding. 200 or celebrating our 250th anniversary. That is insane. But what's more insane is that June is done. I mean, June is over, and this is the last presentation, the last webinar of June, and man, I don't know. I'm getting concerned because next thing we know, we're gonna be talking about the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year. Jornika, bring us home.
Yes, that's the best time of the year, actually, holiday season. But anywho, thank you all so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Mohammed, thank you again. I cannot overexpress how amazing all of your answers were, very detailed and thorough. And Milton, as always, thank you for knocking it out the park. You are the king of webinars, so we appreciate you. And to the rest of the panelists, thank you for all that you do. To everyone else, hopefully we will see you back here next week. We appreciate you guys for coming in. Have a great night.